Welcome to the 10th Annual Citizens Climate Lobby Conference and the first conference with our bill in play. So congratulations to all of you for getting us this far. I do have one question for all of you, though. Once we got the bill out, wasn't it supposed to be a lot easier? This seems so unfair to me. What's going to happen in this morning's session is we're going to tell you a little bit about who's here, and then we'll go over some of the things that will be happening over the course of the entire conference. So first of all, I want you to know that last year was the biggest conference that we've ever had. There were 1,300 people who attended last year's June conference. This year, there were 1,541 people pre-registered for the conference. We've been working really hard to diversify our organization in terms of age, political views, racially, and I think you'll see that that is really paying off in terms of the people who are here today. So for instance, there are 380 people who identify themselves as students. There are 72 minors, which is pretty cool. In terms of new people who are coming for the climate advocate training for the first time, there are 678 people. There are 175 people of color at this year's conference. There are 12 regional coordinators, 42 state coordinators, 362 group leaders, 342 liaisons, 129 people who identify themselves as right of center. Last year, we had the most congressional districts we'd ever covered, and that was 82% of congressional districts. This year, it's 87% of congressional districts. The following states that regularly don't have full coverage this year do, which includes Ohio, Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee, South Carolina, Nevada, and Hawaii. And probably most amazing of all, there are 12 people named Mark registered for this conference. I'm sure I've never been to a conference with 12 people named Mark, but it did happen this year. One of the things that will happen tomorrow is we'll have a chance to invite up some of the people who are outside the US. So tomorrow you're going to meet David Michael Tawunga, James Collis, he's from Nigeria, James Collis from Portugal, Marlo Ferme from Canada, from Chile, Angela Flores from Mexico, Jorge Martinez and Mauricio Castillo from Colombia, Laura Morales from Honduras, Edgardo Solorzano, and then our international coordinators, Izatis Sintron, Tammy Keglog, and David Mangal Tuwanga. So we're really excited to have all those people here. The first thing we're going to do this morning is Marshall Saunders, our founder, is going to introduce our two governing boards. So we actually have two organizations, Citizens Climate Lobby and Citizens Climate Education. We have two sets of boards of directors, two financials, and we had a board of directors meeting with them yesterday, and Marshall and the boards are going to come up so you can introduce them right now.
Okay, I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, I'm here to introduce the board. Okay, Ross Astoria. Ross Astoria teaches political science and law at the University of Wisconsin. For his research on the Energy Innovation Act, H.R. 763, Ross's colleagues honored him with the Excellence in Research and Creative Activities Award. Congratulations, Ross. Okay, let's hold the applause until we get them all in, and we'll be here all day. Valerie Bain. Hi, Valerie. Valerie holds an MBA from Golden Gate University and is CCL's California Diversity Coordinator. Valerie cares for her father full-time, who's partially debilitated by air pollution. Piper Christian. Piper. Piper is a sophomore at the University of Utah. She works to engage students in climate policy from the local to the national level. She assisted in passing a resolution on environmental and economic stewardship through the Utah State Legislature in 2018. Jerry Hinkle. Jerry was an economist in banking for 35 years and now works as an economic research coordinator for CCL. In this role, he drafts congressional testimony for us. Jerry's hobbies are hiking and biking. Mary Selkirk, hold your applause until the very end. Mary, please. Mary Selkirk is from Berkeley, California, and she is a retired collaborative public policy specialist. She and her husband Lee are river runners, and they run whitewater rivers all over the continent. She plays classical piano and is learning jazz piano. Now the CCE Board. Natasha Dejanette. Natasha. Natasha holds a PhD in public health and has a considerable experience in environmental epidemiology and public health policy. She is a recipient of several prestigious awards in the field. Natasha's hobby is photography. Scott Leckman, where's Scott? There he is, Scott. Scott is a general surgeon in Salt Lake City. He is a former chairman of the board of Results. Scott is a Rotary District governor for Utah. Claudine Snyder. Claudine, yes. Claudine is a former Republican congresswoman from Rhode Island's 2nd Congressional District. She served from 1981 to 1991. She introduced the Global Warming Prevention Act of 1988 with 140 co-sponsors, 140 co-sponsors. Mark Tabbert. Mark is an independent businessman. He is a founder of the group and group leader of the First Citizens Climate Lobby in Orange County, California. There are now 7 chapters there. Something he thinks is special about him is that he's on the CCE board, and nothing tops that. Zena Spizakis not attending. Zena was the managing director of Alliance Global Investors. She was responsible for the operation and risk management of $130 billion in assets. She is currently running for Congress and is holding a rally this afternoon in New York. See, where are we? She is currently, running for Congress, and she's a gardener and enjoys hiking. Sandra Kirkland Turner, not attending. Sandra Kirkland Turner holds a PhD in climate science from Scripps Institution of Oceanography. Sandra is an assistant professor of paleoclimatology and paleooceanography at the University of California in Riverside. All right. Okay, there you go. There's your board of directors. Come on. Hey. All right. Thank you very much. Cool.
Stay there for a second. So you and I have known each other for 30 plus years, right? Yeah. And for the last 10 years, we spend almost every Monday morning together talking about the office. And 3 weeks ago, we talked about how travel can be hard on you sometimes. and that after this year you didn't need to come to the conference.
Might not.
Yeah, so I think Marshall will come to future conferences, and I hope you'll come, and I suspect you will. But this organization has been so special to me that if there's a chance he doesn't come after this year, I would be really grateful if we could give him one more thank you for starting this organization.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You are a dream come true. I love you. And thank you.
So you have a schedule that we want to talk about in just a minute, and the context of your schedule should be your schedule. The context for Amy Bennett, who's going to be coming up in just a moment, is 1,200 schedules that have to be coordinated over 500 meetings. So somebody who coordinates and collaborates 1,200 schedules for over 500 meetings probably knows a few things about yours and my schedule that we want to know about. So please join me in welcoming Amy Bennett. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It is so great to see you all. I am Amy Bennett, the Director of Liaisons and Lobby Days, and there's my partner in crime and boss, Gina, right next to me there. She'd love to be here. We're going to talk about your schedules and also taking meeting minutes. So this is what hangs in my window at home. This is the thermometer of how many meetings we have. We always want to get to that 541, and we always are here just about there. And by Monday, we're hoping to get over 500. We are currently at 499. This is what your schedule might look like. Here's Tony's. This is from last year. You can see up in the upper right-hand side, it says 1 of 4 pages. Be aware you have to scroll down. You have more than 1 page to your schedule. Most of you have 1 to 2 regular meetings, and then possibly 1 to 2 others that are to be determined or a delivery only. Notice on the left side, it has the member's name, state, district, Senate, or House. Look in those special notes sections just in case there's a special note for you, the staff in the meeting, the liaisons listed. Over on the right side, it says what kind of a meeting we expect it to be. This one happens to be face-to-face versus a staff meeting. And then also in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the meeting ID. You want to make a note of that for the meeting minutes. Then down below in the table, you will see the lead's name, and you'll also have all of your co-team members' names and contact information and their other meeting times. Here's another sample one. This is a to-be-determined meeting. It says over there on the left. Many of these have already been set since the schedules went out. So you want to check with your meeting lead. They're going to know the status of the meeting. We do expect some more to come in on Monday, so stay tuned. Here's another one that you might have. This is a delivery only. There's a few meetings where we just weren't able to actually get a meeting time, but we visit every single office on the Hill. So be sure, there's usually 2 people scheduled for this, 2, maybe 3. 1 person is the lead, and we ask the lead to make sure that a delivery actually makes its way to that office sometime on Tuesday. And that's with our ask and with constituent letters. So please make sure that happens. And do submit meeting minutes on those deliveries. And as for your schedule, you know the byword, please love your schedules. And if something crazy happened, like you didn't even get your schedule, I am right outside the door here with Morgan and Keston, and we can resend those to you. Now, if a conflict comes up, like your to-be-determined comes in and it's in conflict with another meeting, You might want to talk to the meeting leads, definitely, in fact, talk to the meeting leads of both meetings to make sure you all can work out what's best for you to do when two meetings are conflicted. Your regional coordinator also might be able to help you with that. Now, some of you might like to pick up some more meetings. And the way to do that, we have self-service boards right outside here. It's called speed dating. And what you can do is on one set of boards, list your name and your openings. And the other set of whiteboards actually has a place where the lead can list what their needs are if someone had to drop out of one of their meetings. So we ask that you use the whiteboards rather than try to jump into a meeting. So in other words, use the whiteboards, but don't drop into a meeting unannounced. Thank you for that. Here's another special situation. If there's no constituents that were able to make it to DC, you might have a note in the special notes that says that the lead is to call a constituent to join the meeting by phone. How we do this is we ask permission ahead of time. We also use our CCL cell phones rather than expecting the office to have a phone set up in the office. So do make a note of that. And then also be aware in terms of expectations that sometimes the constituent call-ins just don't work because you might be meeting in the hall or a cafeteria and it's just too noisy. Meeting minutes. This is what the form looks like that you have in your packet. And, whoops, let me go back one. There we go. So you'll see there's places for you to fill in all of this information. The lead needs to pick one person to take those meeting minutes, and the role of that meeting taker is to take minutes, stay with the group after the meeting and walk down the hall and chat and review that you've got all of the meeting notes correct, and then submit them online within 24 hours. And where to submit them online is actually on the form, so you don't need to have to worry about writing that down. Here's what the form looks like online. So it looks pretty short right there, but as you fill it out, more fields open up. There you go. There's your boxes to put in all of the staffers' names, all of the names of the people in the meeting. Anyone who's a CCL member in the meeting you want to put, that's a constituent, you want to put a little C next to their name, and then you would cut and paste your notes right into that box below. I do suggest not composing your notes online, but composing them in another program and then cutting and pasting them in. Now we're adding something to be put into the notes this year. The timekeeper got a name change. They're the time monitor. And not only do they keep the meeting on time and let everybody know when there's only 5 minutes left, but we're also asking the time monitor to track a couple extra things. One is, what was the balance of time the member spoke versus the CCL team? Again, the member or the staff, what was the percentage of time they spoke versus the CCL team? We're shooting for 50-50 here, but it may be a little bit different. The other thing that we're asking the time monitor to record is the number of open-ended questions the CCL members asked. So there's a hint. Jot down some open-ended questions to ask. And then when you go to submit that online, the minute taker would put in just one number. Like let's say it was 50-50. You just put in 50. Let's say the staffer you were meeting with the staff and it was only 40% of the time that the staffer spoke. You just put in one number, 40. That's for the time the member or staffer spoke, the percentage of time. No percentage symbol, just the number. And likewise, with the number of questions, just put in a whole number. For instance, here it says 6. You don't want to put in SIX or you're going to get an error message. All right, just a few other thoughts. We do want to remind you to submit the meeting minutes online within 24 hours. Again, I don't suggest composing your notes online because what if the internet goes down? You also want to make sure that when you press submit, that you wait and watch for that screen to come up and say, success. You'll also get a copy of those meeting minutes sent back to you. That's another way you know that. And again, because we're meeting with so many offices and we have press and media and NGOs here, special reminder that what is said in your meetings is confidential, and you want to keep that confidential. It's fine to say, oh, I was encouraged by my meeting, but you do want to keep the details confidential. And lastly, my reminder is wear your badge and have a great time on the Hill. Thanks, everyone.
So I love what the conference planning team has done here. So, we've always said listening is important, asking questions is important, and finally we're measuring it. So I think that's a really, really important step. And we're particularly interested in open-ended questions like, what is your members' position on climate change? What is your members' position on solutions to climate change? But really what we want to do is just get in the habit of being better at asking questions in general. And the fact that we're measuring it, I think, is going to give us a significant step forward. So I'm very excited about that. Okay, so the next person, again, probably has a little bit broader context than you and I do for the conference. So Ashley Hunt-Martorano has been planning this conference for over a year. In addition to the plenaries we'll have in this session, there's 104 breakouts all the way from Saturday until Monday. Every piece of paper in your packet is something she's touched at some point. So like Amy, expertise in the schedule, I think Ashley can tell us some useful things about what we need to do about our packet and the rest of the information. Ashley, please.
Good morning. It's really amazing after more than a year of planning to see this room so full. So this is really great to see all of your faces this morning. So let's review some of the important materials in your folder so that you know what to expect over the next few days. So I'm going to talk about the folder contents, your schedule, and then what to do with all of the constituent letters that we've seen flowing in. So on the right side of your folder are some materials that Danny is going to use later tonight, so make sure you don't lose those. You should have one House ask, one Senate ask, statements of support, supporting asks, and one congressional meeting minutes form just as a sample, so you have that because you're enter them online like Amy said. On the left you have the annual report, which Lene is going to go over tomorrow. So grab your program. We're going to go over that and flip through a couple things now. And I'm a millennial, so we're going to start with social media. So the hashtags this year are CCL 2019 and grassroots climate. If you're on social media and you don't follow us, and there are a lot of you in this room that are on social media and you don't follow us, so make sure you do follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and ask other people to follow us as well. We're going to be capturing some of the experiences throughout the next couple of days on video, and we want to be able to share that on social media. We have a team that they're doing some interviews, asking some questions just to get reactions from our volunteers. So if you are interested in talking about what your CCL experience is like, talk to Leslie or Ben or Flannery, and they're going to be at the social media action team table, which is up by the registration desk. We also are going to be able to provide assistance there. So if you're newer to social media or you just want some strategies and tips for how to help amplify our message, stop by and we will help you out. Social media can absolutely help us out, help us achieve our mission of getting out there in front of more people. So if you've been to a conference before, you know that I have a long history of using dog pictures in my slides. So I decided, since I was talking about social media this year, to use one of my favorite dogs on social media as our sample here. So this is Sir Charles Darwin. It's Darwin, who is Stephanie's dog, and he is a little bit Instagram famous, so you can follow him if you want. And Stephanie is our Director of National Outreach and Partnership. So isn't he adorable? Okay, now that I have your attention, on page 5 are your need-to-know items, so the Wi-Fi codes people have been asking about. The Wi-Fi codes are also on the back of your name badge. How to download our conference app on your phone, and our survey information to fill out on Tuesday. So if you look on page 8, we can talk about this Sunday schedule. So at 10:15, at 10:15 the next session is going to start. So we're going to break at 9:45. You can get another cup of coffee or tea. And then we're going to have different experience levels of CCL volunteers break out into different sessions. So group leaders, liaisons, state coordinators, and regional coordinators, you guys are going to go down into Empire. That's the one that's down near the fitness center. It's a little challenging to find, so make sure you give yourself some extra time. And if you've been here before, help other folks find that room, please. If you are newer to CCL or you've not yet had our introductory training, the climate advocate training, you're going to stay here. So welcome to CCL. We're going to make it easy for you. So you don't need to leave. Ellie Sparks and Brett Cease are going to lead an interactive seminar on getting started with CCL and how to hold successful meetings with your members of Congress. So who hasn't heard where they're going yet? You're not a state regional coordinator, liaison, group leader, and you're not going to be attending the climate advocate training. If that's you, then you're going to be able to take part in our Taking Action workshops. And that information is on page 9. So these are aimed at expanding your skills within our 5 levers: lobbying, media, grass-tops outreach, grassroots outreach, and group development. So those workshops are going to be in 8 different breakout rooms, and those are listed on page 9. And then on page 21, we have a map of the hotel for you. There's also some maps out in the hallways. You'll have 3 35-minute sessions with 15 minutes between. And I just want to give a big shout out to Kathy Orlinsky. She's probably not even in the room right now because she's out getting ready for these workshops. She took ownership of putting these together. So if you see Kathy, thank her. Okay, so after that session, everyone's going to head off to lunch on your own, and then we're going to get started at 2 o'clock back here in Regency. That's the All In Together session with Madeline Para, and so make sure you're in your seats at 2 o'clock so that we can start on time. The session is going to break at around 3:10, and then at 3:30, everyone is going to be in the region or state breakout sessions, so I want to spend a moment talking about that. So we have more people, like Mark said, than we've ever had before. We actually had to reserve some rooms at the hotel across the street to be able to handle the state and regional breakout spaces. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So the hotel across the street is the Marriott Wardman Park Hotel. So on page 8, we have a gray box at the bottom, and it breaks out all of the different regions and where you're going to be in the hotel. And so if you're in the north winds, the Pacific Northwest, or the tornado regions, you're going to head across the street to the Marriott Wardman Park Hotel. And we selected your regions because we know you're the most adventurous. So Iowa, Minnesota, North Dakota, Nebraska, South Dakota, Alaska, Hawaii, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. That listing is on page 8. Okay, so here is a map. So volunteers are going to be in, interns are going to be in the lobby at 3:10 to help you find your way over across the street so that you can start your session at 3:30 on time. That's on page 22. And then on page 28, we have the action team listings. Okay, constituent letters. Everyone's been asking. So where do you drop these off and when? So drop those off in Forum, which is back behind the shoe shine station, back past that. And drop those off during the next break and no later than tomorrow at noon. Be sure that you have the state and district number written on the top of each letter. And be sure that if you're a lobby meeting leader, you can pick those folders up tomorrow beginning at 12 p.m. until 5 p.m. So make sure you pick them up before 5 p.m. tomorrow. The hours of the letter exchange support room are on the back of your name badge as well. Our Hometown to the House program is something that we're doing new this year. So as Mark mentioned, we have more people at our conference than we have space for lobbying. So for those of you that are not lobbying on Tuesday, we invite you to attend the Hometown to House. Everyone can stop by between your lobby meetings. You're welcome to do that. So you can read more about this on page 12. And a lot of the congressional districts have created some sort of art that represents their district to share as part of this experience. If you haven't had a chance to do that yet, we have a table on the landing outside in this hallway where Jamie is going to be throughout much of the conference, and you can stop by and talk to him, and he'll help you get set up. I've heard that the weather is looking better for Tuesday than it was yesterday when I put the slide together, so I am very excited about that. If we have any updates on the weather, we'll let you know. So let me send you off through your exciting day with some inspiration. So again, if you're new to social media and you want to learn how to amplify our message, stop by our social media action team table. We can and we want to help you amplify our message out there. So look, if Darwin can be so successful on Instagram, it's truly not too late to teach an old dog new tricks.
Oh. Thank you, Ashley, for that, and Amy. I want to just talk to the people who are brand new here. I know that the first time I came here and I was going to be on the Hill, I had quite a bit of anxiety about it. And I want you to know by the time we go to the Hill on Tuesday, you'll be ready. Between the combination of the climate advocate training this morning and the other people you'll be hearing from, you'll be ready. And in addition to that, there is a huge safety net here of people who've been coming year after year. Some who've been here for all 10 conferences. Some have been 9, some have been 8. But you're going to do great. And I hope you can just know that this is going to work out for you and you're going to be fantastic. All right, then the last thing I want to leave you with is just a reminder of who we are as an organization. You know, there's always two things at play in what we're doing. There's what we're doing, but how we're going about doing it. And our CCL values give us a way to clearly articulate who we are as an organization. What we believe. Citizens Climate Lobby is a nonprofit, nonpartisan, grassroots advocacy organization focused on national policies to address climate change. These core values guide our staff and volunteers along the way. Focus. We are focused on what we see as the single most impactful solution to climate change, a national carbon fee. We know it will not solve the problem entirely and appreciate the work that our friends and other groups are doing. So that we can be effective, we do not let ourselves get distracted by work that does not support our core purpose. After we accomplish our goal, we will tackle the next most impactful solution. Optimism. We believe that people are good and that democracy works. We are confident that our approach will work because we see progress. We stand for a solution, not in protest of other solutions. We don't expect perfection from ourselves or others. This is a process, and we know that people can improve. Together, we are a community that offers one another comfort, support, and fun as we work. Relationships. We take the most generous approach to other people as possible. Appreciation, gratitude, and respect. We listen. We work to find common values. And we endeavor to understand our own biases. We are honest and firm. We know that there's a place for protest, but our approach is to build consensus. That's what will bring enduring change. That's why elected officials and their staff, no matter what their politics, say they're happy to see us, and they mean it. Integrity. We are prepared and do our research. We are always on time for meetings. Our approach is thoughtful and thorough. We consult experts and use data. We are open to new information. In fact, we solicit opposing opinions. We refine our solutions to make them better. We follow up when we're asked. We keep on. Personal power. We use our voices to be heard. This simple act transforms us from spectators to engaged citizens, and it reveals the true nature of democracy to us. We are volunteer-driven, trusting volunteers to make important decisions and to create and develop things that will be valued by Citizens Climate Lobby. Being nonpartisan. Our group is open to all who are serious about solving climate change. You are welcome no matter where you live, what you wear, what you do for a living, or who you voted for in the last election. We work with elected officials and community leaders from across the political spectrum because we believe that everyone is a potential ally. And now, diversity. We empower everyone in exercising their personal and political power regardless of race, ethnicity, nationality, gender, sexual orientation, age, religion, ability, or political affiliation. We seek out, support, and elevate people whose voices may have not been fully heard. Okay, your next session starts at 10:15. Please take your time getting to your next room. Climate advocate people, you can stay here. And again, welcome to our 2019 conference.